What's going on with Tacoma's plastic bag ban?
Are we producing more or less waste during the COVID-19 pandemic?
How can we reduce waste and stay healthy and safe at the same time?
This time last year, it felt like the world was moving in a positive direction when it came to waste.
Many cities throughout the state, including Tacoma, had banned the use of disposable plastic bags.
And a statewide ban was just around the corner.
Restaurants and markets were encouraging more customers to bring their own mug, utensils, or containers to decrease waste from disposable servingware and packaging.
There was even a fashion trend that centered on reducing ocean pollution and saving turtles.
Wait, how does it save a turtle? But when COVID-19 became a global pandemic, much of the way that we operate in our daily lives changed.
And this had an immense effect on waste.
Let's get started.
I'm Gator.
And I'm Kate.
And this is Ask the EnviroChallengers pop-up style.
Episode of Ask the EnviroChallengers, a show where we answer your questions about the environment and sustainability in Tacoma. We'll talk about the ways that our ideas on waste and waste reduction have changed due to COVID-19.
We'll talk about why reducing waste is still important.
And we'll talk about actions we can take to reduce waste and stay healthy and safe at the same time. First of all, what does it mean when we say reduce waste? Well, reducing waste does not mean living completely waste-free or fitting all of your annual waste in a mason jar. These are very unrealistic expectations for most people.
When we say reduce waste, we mean use less in the first place and make less garbage. So do what you can. Even small actions make a difference.
There are lots of methods for reducing waste, and we generally sum them up with a few words that start with the letter R.
Rethink, reduce, reuse, recycle, be responsible, and respect.
But how has COVID-19 changed our thinking about waste reduction?
When the statewide stay home, stay healthy order went into effect, many parts of our daily lives were impacted, including the ways that we buy and use products and the ways we think about garbage.
Because many office buildings and commercial businesses were required to halt normal operation, commercial waste initially decreased.
At the same time, with many people spending more time at home to socially distance, residential waste increased.
Shoppers were no longer allowed to bring reusable bags to the grocery store. Tacoma's plastic bag ban was suspended as stores wanted to provide single-use bags in an effort to protect the health of employees and customers.
Restaurants temporarily closed and many remained closed to dine-in service. Takeout service became a more popular option, which came with an increase of waste from disposable food containers, utensils, napkins, and bags.
And with many people resorting to ordering products online to stay healthy, we also saw an increase in waste from single-use packaging and delivery materials.
While many of these changes were necessary to slow the spread of the coronavirus, we cannot deny that this also increased the waste that we created.
So why is waste reduction so important? Well, because generating a lot of waste impacts our natural environment, our health, and our wallets.
When our current landfill fills up, we have to either build a new landfill in Pierce County or we have to send our waste by rail to a landfill further away from home, which makes our at-home garbage fees more expensive.
But reducing waste helps us to keep air, waterways, and soil clean.
So we can breathe easier, drink cleaner water, and eat healthier.
Reducing waste saves valuable natural resources so that there is enough for us, the almost 8 billion other people on the planet, and future generations.
Also, from an equity perspective, developed countries like the United States consume the most natural resources and generate the most waste.
If we consume less and waste less, we can work towards a more equitable distribution of natural resources worldwide.
In other words, overconsumption, from relying heavily on single-use disposable products, can have a major impact on our health and natural environment that we rely on for survival.
On the other hand, we can have a positive impact on our health and the natural environment by reducing our waste. It's a pretty simple thing to do.
How can we reduce waste while still staying safe and healthy during a global pandemic?
While COVID-19 certainly complicates some of our pre-pandemic waste reduction strategies, waste reduction is definitely 100% still possible.
Waste reduction expert Kyla can show us how we can reduce our daily waste.
Now that the weather's been getting cooler, I've been in the mood for soup. However, the recipe I want to use calls for a blender, and I don't have a blender. So I could order a new blender online and have it shipped to me. I could buy a blender secondhand, or I could figure out if there's a way that I can borrow or share a blender. Now, I don't have a whole lot of room in my little kitchen to store a blender, and I don't really want to spend money on something that I very rarely use. So the best option for me is to share or borrow a blender. Now I can start by asking my friends or family if they have one that I can borrow, or I can make an ask in one of our online social networks, like my local Buy Nothing group or Great Tacoma. That way I can find a neighbor that's willing to lend me a blender. This helps me save money, consume less, and I don't produce any waste in the process. I just have to be sure that if I'm meeting with someone in person to pick up a blender, that I wear my mask and that I sanitize anything I borrow before I use it. And of course, I return it back to them clean.
Thanks, Kyla. Let's look at one more scenario that focuses on reusing. EnviroChallengers John, can you help us out?
Absolutely. I often use rags and towels around the house when I'm cleaning or working on my vehicles. I can actually run to the store and buy rags and towels to use, or I could buy paper towels to use, or I could run around my house and collect old clothes and towels and use them to make into rags and cleaning towels. For me, the best option is to run around the house and get all the old clothes that I no longer use and make them into rags or dish towels or even reusable napkins. This actually will save on resources like trees and textiles. It'll save you some money. And you'll also have a bunch of material like rags to use for cleaning around the house. They're reusable, they're washable, and that makes it one step closer towards sustainability.
Awesome. Thank you, John and Kyla, for teaching us some different ways that we can reduce waste in our everyday lives. For more ideas, you can visit the city's Waste Free 253 website. There's lots of great ideas there.
Before we wrap up, we think it's important to remind you that waste reduction isn't completely up to just you.
Many cities and states are signing on to legislation that places the responsibility of waste management into the hands of the companies that produce the products. We call this product stewardship.
If you would like to know more about how the City of Tacoma is involved in product stewardship, you can visit this website, which is the online home of the Northwest Product Stewardship Council.
The council is exploring many ways to promote product stewardship and sustainability in our region.
There are a lot of ways to reduce waste.
Making simple changes to how much, when, and where we buy can have a large positive impact on our health and the natural environment. So join a sharing or trading network.
Or start one if there isn't one available.
Replace some of those disposable products in your household with reusable, longer-lasting alternatives. And buy products that can be recycled whenever you can.
If you have a question you'd like us to answer on Ask the EnviroChallengers, email us at EnviroChallenger@cityoftacoma.org.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Gator.
And thank you for tuning in for another episode of Ask the EnviroChallengers. We'll see you next time. It's a nice tree you got here. I think I'll buy it.